It started like any other Saturday. My daughter-in-law, Mira, had called that morning with her usual upbeat tone. "Auntie, there's a sale at Brighton Plaza. Dresses, handbags, even shoes. You need to come with me. It'll be fun." She was practically bubbling through the phone. I hesitated. Shopping wasn't really my thing anymore. Not since Arun died. But Mira had been so attentive lately, bringing groceries, helping tidy the house, calling every other day. I didn't want to seem ungrateful. So I said yes. At the store, everything was bright and cheerful. Pop music, perfume in the air, mannequins smiling under soft yellow light. Mira flitted through racks like a magpie, holding up dresses against me, laughing, teasing. "Try something bold. You always wear beige. You need color, Auntie." She handed me a pale blue wrap dress. I smiled, half reluctantly, and went into the fitting room. When I came out, still adjusting the neckline, that's when it happened. A woman grabbed my arm. Her fingers were cold, trembling. Her eyes, sharp, restless, searched my face like she knew me. "Be careful," she whispered, voice low and urgent. "Your daughter-in-law doesn't want you to know, but she's planning something. Something to do with your house." I froze. Before I could even form a question, she looked over her shoulder, twice, then released my arm and hurried off, disappearing behind a wall of cardigans and scarves like a ghost slipping into shadow. I just stood there, staring after her, the blue dress still draped over my arm. My heart was pounding. "What do you mean?" I managed to call out, but she was gone. If you're watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. I'd love to know just how far my story has traveled. A moment later, Mira appeared around the corner, all smiles. "Oh, good. You came out. That dress is going to look amazing on you," she said, oblivious, or pretending to be. Her smile was so bright, so ordinary, that for a second I wondered if I'd imagined everything. Maybe the woman was confused. Maybe she thought I was someone else. Still, when Mira turned to grab another dress, I caught myself staring at her reflection in the mirror. She looked so polished, perfect hair, perfect nails, expensive watch glinting under the store lights. The kind of woman who always seemed to have things figured out. And yet, a stranger had just warned me about her. I tried to shake it off. Later, in the car, Mira chatted the whole drive back, about the sale, about some new Thai restaurant opening soon, about how we had to try it together next weekend. I nodded along, smiling when expected, but my mind was miles away. When I got home, I placed the shopping bag on the couch and went straight to my study. I pulled open my file drawer, the one that held all the essentials: insurance, utility bills, my husband's death certificate, my will, and of course the property deed for the house. I sat there at my desk, flipping through the crisp pages, scanning for anything unusual. Everything looked the same. My name, my signature, no amendments, no transfers. I closed the file and exhaled. Maybe the woman was just crazy. Still, that night, sleep wouldn't come. Her words echoed in my head like a warning bell. "She doesn't want you to know." Over the next few days, I tried to dismiss it. Mira was her usual self, cheerful, helpful, always dropping by just to check in. One afternoon, she brought homemade soup. Another day, she helped me set up my new phone. She was almost too nice. And that's when I noticed something, a pattern. Whenever I left the room, she lingered near my mail stack. Once, I came back from the kitchen and saw her quickly sliding an envelope into her purse. She smiled casually when I asked what it was. "Oh, just your water bill. I'll go pay it on the way home, don't worry." It should have comforted me. Instead, it made my skin prickle. A few days later, she brought up my house. "You know, Auntie, this place is lovely, but it's a lot for you alone, isn't it? So much cleaning, yard work." Her tone was casual, but her eyes were watching me closely. I forced a laugh. "I manage." Still, when she left that evening, I found myself locking every window before bed. That night, I dreamed about the woman from the store, her red hair, her wild eyes, her warning. And when I woke up, I realized something unsettling. I couldn't remember ever seeing her before. But somehow, she'd known exactly what to say to make me afraid. 2 days later, the warning began to make sense. I was outside, watering my roses like I always do around sunset, when I heard Mira's voice drifting from the open kitchen window. She was on the phone. "Yeah, no, she doesn't suspect anything," she said, her voice hushed but clear. "Once she signs, we can move forward. The lawyer said it'll make things easier for everyone." I froze. The hose slipped from my hand, water pooling at my feet. "Once she signs." I stepped closer, barely breathing. "No, she trusts me," she continued. "It's all fine. I'll bring the papers this week." My heart pounded, so hard it almost drowned out the rest of her words. When she ended the call, I quickly walked back inside, pretending I'd been in the garden the whole time. She smiled when she saw me, holding up 2 cups of tea like nothing was wrong. "Masala chai, just the way you like it." I thanked her, forcing a smile, but I couldn't meet her eyes. That night, I sat at the dining table long after she left, tea untouched, staring at the faint ring it left on the glass surface. I didn't want to believe it. Not about Mira. Not about my own family. But something inside me had shifted. The next day, she came again, this time with her usual sweet energy and a folder tucked under her arm. "Just something to go over," she said. "Sajan and I have been thinking about your future, you know. We want to help make life easier." She pulled out brochures for a 55-plus community, glossy images of smiling seniors by swimming pools and yoga studios. "It's nearby," she said brightly. "You'd love it. No yard work, no maintenance. You could even join classes, pottery, painting." I tried to stay calm. "I like my garden," I said. "And this house has memories." She nodded, feigning understanding. "Of course, Auntie. It's just, sometimes we hold on to things that make life harder. You deserve ease." She tapped the folder. "There's also a simple form, a title transfer. Nothing complicated, just to add Sajan's and my name alongside yours. You'll still be the main owner. It just simplifies things legally." Her voice was gentle, persuasive, the kind you trust. But all I could hear was the woman's warning. She's planning something. I opened the folder slowly. The paper at the top read, "Transfer of title, joint ownership." I looked up at Mira. Her smile was unwavering. "Is this what you meant by making things easier?" I asked quietly. "Yes," she said smoothly. "It's just formal. It protects you." I closed the folder and set it aside. "Let me read through it properly before signing." Her smile flickered. "Of course. Take your time." But I saw it, that quick flash of irritation before she looked down at her phone. That evening, I couldn't shake the dread in my chest. The house felt different, quieter, like it was holding its breath. So I called someone, an old friend from my volunteering group, Rena, whose brother worked in law. "Don't sign anything," she told me immediately. "Bring it to my brother tomorrow." The next day, I sat in a small law office, hands trembling as I passed the papers across the desk. The lawyer, a woman maybe in her 40s, calm and sharp-eyed, read silently for a few minutes. When she finally looked up, her expression was grave. "If you had signed this," she said, "you would have made your daughter-in-law co-owner of your property. She'd have full rights to sell, refinance, or even evict you with the right notice, depending on how the deed gets filed." I felt my heart plummet, but she said it was just a formality. The lawyer shook her head. "That's what people say when they want control without confrontation." She leaned forward. "Do you want my help making sure this never happens again?" I nodded, wordless. Together, we drafted a document stating that no change could be made to the house title without my independent legal consent. Then she helped me update my will, tightening every clause. Before I left, she said something that chilled me. "You're lucky you caught this early. I've seen this exact situation too many times. It's not always greed. Sometimes it's about control." That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. I could hear the soft hum of the fridge, the ticking of the wall clock, all the little sounds that meant safety, routine home. But now, even my own home felt uncertain. I started to wonder if my son, Sajan, knew any of this. He'd always been kind, but busy, working long hours, leaving Mira to handle things. If he knew, would he have stopped her? Or was he part of it? The thought stung. The next morning, I invited him to lunch. Just him. No Mira. We sat at a quiet dosa cafe, the same one he'd loved since he was little. For a few minutes, I couldn't bring myself to speak. Then I took a breath and told him everything. The phone call, the papers, the lawyer's warning. At first, his face went pale. Then still. She told me it was your idea, he said softly. That you wanted to make things easier for us. I never said that, I replied. We sat there in silence, just the clatter of plates around us. Then he stood up abruptly. I need to talk to her, he said. His voice shook, not with anger but disbelief. And for the first time in a long while, I saw my son not as Mira's husband, but as my boy again. That evening, I didn't hear from Sajin. No call. No text. Nothing. I told myself not to panic. He was probably still processing everything. Maybe he'd gone straight home to talk to her. But my stomach twisted the entire night. Every sound outside made me glance toward the window, half expecting to see her car pulling up. By morning, I was exhausted. I made tea and sat by the window, the steam fogging my glasses. That's when my phone finally buzzed. Sajin, we talked. I'll come by later. Just those 5 words. Hours crawled by before I heard his car in the driveway. He stepped out, shoulders tense, eyes rimmed red. Come in, I said quietly. He shook his head. No, I just came to say you were right. I froze. What happened? He took a shaky breath. She admitted it. Not all of it, but enough. She said she was trying to get your signature. Said she thought it was better for the family. That if the house was shared, it would be easier to manage once. He trailed off, unable to finish. Once I died. I felt my throat close. Did she say that? He nodded, eyes full of shame. She said she was trying to protect our future. That you'd be gone one day, and it made sense to plan ahead. I sank into my chair, my palms cold. Protecting her future, not mine. He rubbed his forehead. I thought I knew her, Ma. But I didn't. And it's not just this. I found a bank account. She's been moving some of our joint savings into it for months. Claimed she was saving for us. He gave a hollow laugh. Always for us. Silence hung between us. I told her I needed space, he said finally. I'm staying with a friend for now. I wanted to comfort him, but I also knew he needed to face the truth without me softening it. Sometimes, I said gently, the people we love forget that trust isn't a given. It's earned, and it can be lost. He nodded. Yeah, I see that now. Days passed. The air in my house felt lighter, like a storm had finally moved on, but there were still clouds on the horizon. One afternoon, I was baking cardamom biscuits when the doorbell rang. It was Mira. She stood there, perfectly composed. A thin smile stretched across her face. Can I come in? She asked. I hesitated, then nodded. For a few minutes. She stepped inside, her heels clicking against the tile. I suppose you're pleased, she said. Sajin's furious. He's not even talking to me. I folded my arms. He deserves honesty. Her lips curved into something bitter. Honesty. That's rich, coming from someone who's clearly been poisoning him against me. I told him the truth, I said. If that poisoned him, maybe it's because the truth was rotten. For the first time, her expression cracked. Her voice rose, sharp. You've never liked me. You've always treated me like an outsider. I was just trying to secure our future, because I know what happens when the older generation leaves nothing but chaos. There it was, her mask slipping. Then why lie? I asked softly. Why pretend to care? Why make me feel like family only to trick me into giving up my home? Her eyes darted away. You wouldn't understand. You're right, I said. I don't understand betrayal. She stood there for a long moment, breathing hard. Then she muttered, You've made a big mistake, and stormed out. I locked the door behind her. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the house deed, my name printed clearly. Still mine. But even as relief washed over me, I couldn't shake the thought of that strange woman in the store, the one who had warned me. Who was she? I went back to that shop the next day. The same racks of dresses, the same faint music playing. I approached a sales clerk. Excuse me, I said. Do you remember a woman with red hair? About my age. She was here with me a few weeks ago. The clerk thought for a moment. Red hair? Oh, Mrs. Patel, maybe. She comes in sometimes. Said she used to live on Maple Street. Maple Street. That was just 2 blocks from my house. I thanked her and left, my mind buzzing. When I got home, I looked up the name in an old neighborhood directory. There she was, Anita Patel, listed at an address I vaguely remembered from years ago. I decided to visit. The next day, I found her small bungalow tucked behind a line of jacaranda trees. I rang the bell, half expecting no answer. But the door opened. And there she was, the same woman, red hair tied back, eyes weary but kind. When she saw me, her face softened. "Oh, you came. You warned me," I said. "How did you know?" She sighed and gestured for me to come in. Her house was small but warm, filled with the smell of sandalwood and tea. Photos lined the walls. Her late husband, a young man I guessed was her son. "My son married a woman like yours," she said quietly. Sweet at first. Helpful. Then came the joint ownership papers. I signed without reading. A year later, I was renting a room in my own house. She looked down, fingers trembling slightly. "When I saw you with your daughter-in-law that day, I just couldn't stay silent. You reminded me of myself." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I reached across the table and took her hand. "You saved me," I said simply. She smiled faintly. "No, you saved yourself. You listened." A few weeks passed. Mira and Sajjan started counseling. He visited me often, quieter now but kinder, more grounded. He'd stopped letting Mira handle their finances. As for me, I began volunteering at a seniors' legal aid group, helping others understand their property rights. The stories I heard were heartbreaking: widows tricked, elderly men swindled, families torn apart by greed. Each time, I thought of that moment in the store, that simple whisper that changed everything. It's been 6 months now. The roses are blooming again. Sajjan still comes every Sunday for dinner. Mira sometimes joins, polite, subdued. We're civil, though the warmth is gone. Maybe that's for the best. Last week, I received a small card in the mail. It was from Anita. "Hope your garden is thriving. Keep warning others. The world needs more women who listen." I placed the card on my mantel, right beside a framed photo of my husband. I smiled, because she was right. Sometimes, saving your home starts with listening, to strangers, to instincts, to that small voice that says, something isn't right. And sometimes, that voice saves your life. If this resonated with you, or reminded you of someone you care about, please share it. You never know who might need the nudge.